Hello everyone, welcome back to our online class. So today we are continuing the second part of Footprints Without Feet. It was written by H.G. Wells. Last class we discussed the first part of the story, that how Griffin become invisible, and how he escaped from this place and other things. Now we are going to check the next part. Eager to get away from the crowded London, he took a train to the village of Iping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. So after that, from escape from that, he took a train to Iping. The arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. So inn means a hotel. It's a type of hotel. Okay. So arrival of a stranger in that winter season is very unusual event. A stranger of such uncommon appearances set all the tongues wagging. Tongues wagging means gossiping, talking here and there. So he has uncommon appearance. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife. Landlord means the house owner. So the appearance, you see that you can't understand what is her face, what is looking like that. So Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly. So she tried to be friendly with that person, to Mr. Griffin. But Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, "My reason for coming to Iping is a desire for solitude. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face." So Mrs. Hall tried to be friendly with that person, newcomer, but he doesn't have the desire to talk to anyone. So he directly told her that I came here to become solitude. I don't wish to talk to anyone. I don't wish to be disturbed from anyone. And my face has affected because of an accident. Such were that her guest was an eccentric scientist, and in a view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper. So eccentric means strange. This is strange scientist. She understood the guest was strange scientist, but the reason was that he already paid in advance the money for the room. He already paid, so she didn't have any problem with that person. Then what happened there? Okay, even though he has that irritable temper, that is quickly getting anger. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. So the money which he had stolen from that shop, it was finished. Now he already said to them that he doesn't have any ready cash. He pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. So he pretended means to act, pretend, act. So he acted that soon he will get a check. Now he doesn't have any money in hand, so he will get a check soon. Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. There. What was that? Very early in the morning, a clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises in the study. Clergyman means that a priest of the church. That is clergyman. So the clergyman and his wife woke up. The study room, some noises are there. Creeping downstairs, they heard the clink of money being taken from the clergyman's desk. So when they are coming down, they heard that chink of the money. Money is the sound of that money. It was taken from that clergyman's desk. Without making any noise and with a poker grasped firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung up the door. Surrender. So poker means a stick. You can see in this picture. There is a poker. So it's a metal rod. It's used to clear the fire in the fire burning. Okay. So then, to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. When he opened the door suddenly and said surrender, but the room was empty. He and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. There wasn't a sign of anybody. Yet the desk had been opened and the housekeeping money was missing. So housekeeping money means the money which they wanted to use for buying some other things like household things, vegetables, rice, like that. So nobody's there, but the money was missing. Extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. But it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. In the same morning, something happened to Mrs. Hall's furniture. An extraordinary thing happened there. Mrs. Hall's furniture, something happened to Mrs. Hall's furniture. What was that? The landlord and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. When they wake up, they saw the door was open. Usually it was shut and locked. And he was furious. Furious means angry. If anyone entered his room, the opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They thought he has escaped from there. They peeped around the door, looked, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. They decided to investigate there. They started searching inside the room. The bedclothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. And stranger still, the clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. So in blood cloth some cold is there. So that means he was there some time. And the dresses, the bandages and other things he was wearing, that all are spreaded over there, laying on that bed and in the room also. But there was no sign of that man. So what is happening to him? That these two members are wondering. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. Sniff means that taking a breath. So suddenly a sniff heard close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leapt up and dashed itself into her face. Suddenly, the hat on the bedpost. Bedpost means that is four legs of the bed. So from that, hat came and hit on her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive. Next thing is the bedroom chair. It became alive. Springing into the air, it charged straight at her. So, at her legs foremost. So the chair took alive. Look, then it goes up and the legs foremost and it came towards her. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. So the chair pushed them, both of them, out of the room and the door slammed behind them and it locked. The door locked inside. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. Hysterics means extreme fear. Hysterics, extreme fear. So she fell down from the stairs. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into her furniture. So she thought that the room was haunted by the spirits and the stranger, the scientist, he somehow haunted that and entered that spirit into the furniture. The spirit is there on the furniture, that she thought. My poor mother used to sit on that chair. She moaned, she cried, she said, my mother was used to sit on the chair. To think it should rise up against me now. So she's saying, how that chair rise up against me? Oh, it's terrible. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by the witchcraft. Witchcraft means the practice of witches. But witchcraft or not, when news of the burglary means robbery, at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected to having had a hand in it. So when they know about that burglary in that clergyman's home, they thought this scientist had a hand in that. They suspect that. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money. So some days before he said he doesn't have any ready cash in his hand. But suddenly he produced some money. Ready cash he produced it. From where it is? They heard about the burglary at the clergyman's home. At the same time, the strange things happened in the room also. So they had a suspect on that person. The village constable was secretly sent for. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist, who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty room. So, village constable was secretly sent for searching. So, instead of waiting for the constable, Miss Hall went there, but suddenly and mysteriously that person appeared from that empty room. When they were there, nobody was there, but that scientist appeared in that empty room. I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs. What are you doing to my chairs upstairs? I want to know about that. She demanded. She went up and asked it. And I want to know how it is you came out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. I want to know what are you doing to the chair and how you came out of an empty room. How are you coming out of an empty room? And I want to know how did you enter? How did you enter that locked room? You wanted to say these all things to me. So you can see the picture there, removing the clothes. That you can see in the next paragraph. The scientist was always quick-tempered. No, he became furious. He already quick-tempered, so he became furious, angry. You don't understand who or what I am. He shouted. He shouted there. You don't understand who or what I am. Very well, I will show you. Okay, good. I will show you now. Suddenly, he threw off bandages, whiskers, spectacles, and even nose. It took him only a minute to do this. The horrified people, the frightened people in the bar found themselves staring at a headless man. They frightened to see that they are staring, they are looking at a headless man. In this picture, you can see he's removing the clothes, bandages, and everything. So there was no head for that man. Everyone shouted. Mr. Jaffers, the constable, now arrived. The name of the constable is Jaffers. And I was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. He's surprised to see that he had to arrest a man without a head. But Jaffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. So he is very, good in his duty. He will do his duty. If a magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest, then that person had to be arrested with or without his head. So, if magistrate said to arrest a person, that person must be arrested, whether he had a head or not. That is not a problem. He must be arrested. There followed a remarkable scene as the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off one garment after another. So, it's a remarkable scene that is, he is trying to catch a man. He was become invisible one by one. Finally, a shot flew into the air, and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. So, finally, only the shot was there, it is flying up there, and the constable is struggling to find the person. He couldn't see that person at all. Some people tried to help him, but found themselves hit by blows that seemed to come from nowhere. So, some people also tried to help the constable, but they also blow means hit. They also hit beatings from that invisible place. In the end, Jaffers was knocked unconscious as he made a last attempt to hold on to the unseen scientist. So he became unconscious because of knocked, because he has got a lot of beats from. He can't see who is there. Nobody can see what is happening there. They all are getting beat. There were nervous, excited cries of hold him. But this was easier said than done. It's easy to say, but can't do that one. Griffin had shaken himself free, and no one knew where to lay hands on him. So no one knew how to catch him. Griffin escaped from that, and he escaped from that persons, and then no one knows what to do. So this is a story. I hope you understood. So we can quickly check the story. So in the London, there was a scientist, and he discovered how to make the human body transparent. We are quickly checking the story. Okay, then he was a brilliant scientist, though he was Griffin rather. Okay, he was a lawless person. He wanted to obey the laws, and some of the adventures he had done that. Enter the big London store and sleep in there, and he just escaped when they are trying to catch him. And after that, he entered the theatrical company, and he took as many as things that allows him to be get the face and other things. And he went to village of Iping in a train, where he reached the in Mrs. Hall's inn. And after that he paid money, and he doesn't have the money, so that he burgled the clergyman's house, and Emma took money from that clergyman's house. After that, some of the kind strange behavior of the Mrs. furniture, that is, the furniture was taken away, and finally they all suspected him for for the robbery, and he and what say Mrs. Hall wanted to ask him about these things, and Mrs. Jaffers, the constable, came. When they are trying to catch him, he became invisible. He threw off that, and he escaped from that. That is the story we have learned. I hope you understood everything. So if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment box. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.